Hello viewers, here is a fairly typical 6-inch desk fan, and it's got a balance issue. It kind of vibrates a little bit when it's on, and as it slows down you can see, maybe not so much on the camera, but you can see it kind of shakes a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and balance the blade just so it runs a little better. Very simple to do. These usually just pull right off the shaft, which is the case here as well. And what we're going to do here is we're going to put a weight inside the center of the blade hub there to kind of balance it out. And we're going to use a piece of wire. This is a scrap piece of wire that I saved from some other product I did. This is one of those things people say, why don't you throw that out? Well, here we go. Now we're going to use it. So I'm going to take some cutters here, and we're going to cut off a small amount, probably about this much. You don't need a lot because the centrifugal force will make up for any, make it seem heavier on the blade than it really is. And now we're going to bend it a little bit. I want to bend it into kind of an angled shape that's going to fit in between one of those fins in there. Oh, that didn't go as well as I'd liked it to. Okay, let's see if that'll work. And I don't know what fin to put it in. I'm just going to select one at random. I mean, this is purely a guessing game. We're going to put it in there and give it a test run and see if anything happened. If it got worse, we'll put it on the other side. If it got better, we'll move it a little bit just to see if it's as good as it can be. You know, if you had expensive equipment, you could find out exactly where it needs to be, but I don't have it, and I imagine most of the viewers don't have it either. Alright, so I bent it a little bit too much, so I'm just going to kind of unbend it just a hair, because you don't want it to go flying out while it's running. Alright, so I'm going to stick this in here like so. Well, that's not what I wanted to happen. Let's try some tweezers here. Okay. It's still not, excuse me, quite as snug as I like it to be. So I'm just going to kind of push it down, and that should hold it in place. So that's ultimately what it looks like. And let's go ahead and put it on the fan and see what happens. Excuse me, I get something to drink. Now, I think it feels worse. You can see it's still shaking, so let's take this off of here, and we're going to move it to a different side. I'm going to skip over 2 and put it over here. Come on, bro, cooperate. That seems a little bit better. Still shaking a little bit, so let's try to move it again. And it could also be that this is just too, it's not heavy enough. It may need a little bit more weight. Okay, that feels really smooth. Oh, jeez, you can't even see it. So that feels really smooth. And you can see it's not really shaking as it spins down anymore. So I'm going to move it one more to the left and see what happens, just to make sure that we have the best possible positioning of this. That feels pretty good as well, but it's still vibrating a little bit, so I think the previous position was going to be the best option. So we're going to move it back over. And it kind of makes sense if it's in this position, because what that means is this blade is out of balance compared to these other two. This one doesn't have the same weight. So it feels like it's running very smooth. It's not vibrating much anymore. And when I turn it down, it doesn't shake anymore. So we're going to go with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a... Oh man! That thing just fell out. Now I got to do it all over again. Alright, so once you've got the part of the blade that needs the weight, in this case it's going to be right behind this blade, and it's not a work of precision. Just put the thing on the fan and feel how much it's vibrating. So I've got the hot glue thing on here, and what I'm going to do to get a more permanent answer to this is I'm going to replace a little piece of wire with a couple drops of hot glue. Now hot glue is very heavy, so it'll work relatively quickly without a whole lot of glue. So I'm just going to put a small drop on here. I'm going to let that dry and we're going to try it out. And if we have to add some more, we'll add some more. It's a lot easier to add a little bit at a time than to put a whole bunch on there and have to take it off and start all over again because you threw it off balance the other way. Alright, that's just about dried, so we're going to put this back on the fan. And let's see how it feels. So it's better, but it's still shaking a little bit. So we're going to add some more glue. That's what it looks like now. And it's very nicely balanced. Doesn't vibrate and shake anymore. So it's pretty easy to fix it. All you need is a little piece of scrap wire to figure out where the problem is, and some hot glue to add some counterweight.